Right. Welcome to Natural Health Shop. I'm Eddie Hochschlag, your co-host, and tonight we're going to be going over women's hormonal system. So Dr. Mark, take a nutritional route, and what's going to be interfering with those hormones. Dr. Chip is going to talk about the nervous system and how it relates with the inner pharmacist. And of course, I'm going to talk about emotions, a little bit about fear, but mostly just how emotions play a part in the woman's hormonal system. Up first is Dr. Mark.
Okay, we're wound up tonight, aren't we? So again, good to see everybody out there and get a little history of natural health. Been in practice now for 38 years, helping patients left and right. We're really enjoying our office now too, especially with the virus business and the immune system things. People are asking us lots of questions about things and really wanted to know more about health. You know, the medical system as it is, that's why we're in our little trouble. So we need to work on getting healthier. And that's what we're going to talk tonight, really, about the what is really interfering with women's hormones. And the thing is, we're looking at health completely, as a holistic approach. You know, when you go to the medical route, and again, nothing wrong with that. It's just that they're breaking things down into a small area, you know, just looking at this or this, the thyroid hormones or this kind of thing. And we want to look at the picture, a broader picture of getting the woman's body and everybody's body working completely, working healthily, not just worrying about, you know, estrogen. You know, that's too minimalistic, and that's the problem. We're missing the forest for the trees kind of a thing when we look at it like that. So we want to look at things in a little broader sense. So go ahead to the next slide. The female hormonal imbalances are often tied to lifestyle. Hormones, just so you know what they are proteins, are steroids. So proteins come from amino acids, that's like meats and things like that, and steroids comes from fats and things like cholesterol. You have to have cholesterol to make certain hormones, vitamin D and all this fun stuff. That are secreted directly into your bloodstream, playing a role in many body functions. So, and I'll just go ahead here. The endocrine system, which includes glands such as the pituitary, hypothalamus, thyroid, parathyroid, pancreas, adrenal, cortex, and medulla, and ovaries, produce hormones in women. And some of those things produce hormones in men too. So it's a thing where we have to look at the hormone system as a whole. It's a very complex system. A lot of, like, for instance, there's stimulating hormones, negative feedback cycles, all kind of things going on there. For instance, when you do a thyroid test, they're looking at the TSH. The TSH is not a thyroid hormone, it's a pituitary hormone. Looking at the thyroid stimulating hormone from the pituitary. So you have to keep these all in mind. And the problem is when the medics treat the thyroid, because either the TSH is too high or the T4 is too low, what do? They give you one artificial hormone, which throws the rest of them out of balance. So then we have problems. Then you have hot flashes, mood swings, all this kind of fun stuff. Then you're on Prozac, and the list goes on and on. So of course we're wanting to get people to look at that's not health. That is treating disease or treating symptoms. And again, nothing wrong with that in the short term, but we need to figure out what's going on there. Why are these imbalances there? So a couple little things that I'll explain, that helps explain this. Let's see here, I got my notes if I can read them. The endocrine system, again, we talked about what that is. And one of the big things that goes along with this and causes the hormone imbalances is adrenal fatigue, which we see a lot. We see a lot of hypothyroids in women. I bet 60 to 80% of women have hypothyroid issues, and many of them go right along with the adrenal fatigue or burnout going on there. So, I'm not here to get into politics too much, but in our society, years ago, women would stay home. They had enough problems to deal with the kids. Now they have a job and all the stuff they have to do at home. So they really, burning the candle at both ends kind of a thing. And we see a lot of burnout from that. So that gets into, again, the causes there. So it's like like people who do a lot of exercise and marathon runners and those kind of things who have health problems, you can do all this exercise. If you're not giving the body the nutrition it needs and replacing what's going on in there, what the body needs, you're not going to get the body to work correctly. You know, so you can exercise yourself to death, kind of one of those things. You could just over-exercise. If you're not getting the nutrients your body needs to repair that damage from exercise. And the same way with the lifestyle. If you're, not eating correctly, not digesting correctly, and that's a big key, because people think, well, I'll throw this in my mouth and it'll go where it's supposed to go, and that's not even close to what happens most of the time. And especially women over 40, or even people over 35, 40 start to lose the ability to digest correctly. We see a lot of problems with indigestion in the office. And many people have livers that are overloaded or toxic, and they can't digest or emulsify fats. And again, fats are what goes into the steroids that make up the hormones. And then proteins, again, are hard to digest. If you're getting them in meats and things, they're great sources, very dense protein sources, but you have to be able to digest them. That's a big key. So we'll go to the next slide. Your lifestyle interfering with your hormone imbalance, question mark. Again, emotional stress, dietary stress, and pain or inflammation, inflammatory stresses. So emotional stresses, Ed will talk a little more about that in a little while, with fear and things like that. But any of the other stresses that women especially deal with, women are definitely more emotional than men. It's just the way it is. So, and that's a good thing. I mean, women are definitely more able to handle kids. They have that loving, they're much more in tune that way. So they feel stresses more. So that's, and they have just more hormones going on in there, cycles every month, all those kind of things going on that men don't think about really. So dietary stresses, and again, you'll see that many, like for instance, pregnancy, women want to have a sweet pickle, and then they want to have ice cream, and then they want to have popcorn. And it's just kind of this thing, and that's the dietary stresses due to hormone imbalances. So if your hormones are swinging wildly, then you're going to want comfort foods, and you're going to be tired, so you're going to crave sugars, and if you're low on minerals, you're going to crave sugars and things. So, and the trouble is that the more sugars and junk you get, the more dietary stress you have, and then this kind of becomes a negative cycle. And if you have any kind of pain or inflammatory stress, I mean, for any other bodily functions that are just not working correctly, that gives us a lot of problems there. There's one more slide on this. So addressing hormone problems begins with changing your lifestyle. So treating hormone problems requires a whole body approach. Again, what we're talking about here with getting healthy, not just treating that symptom or that hormone, one that addresses the excess stress and unhealthy lifestyle habits that created the hormonal imbalance in the first place. So, for instance, we hear a lot about breast cancer, for instance, and that's an estrogen-driven cancer we hear about. And so we want to either stop estrogen, add more progesterone, close the progesterone, erase estrogen. Then if you do that, then you have osteoporosis. So it's not a problem, with the body's estrogen. It's the body's ability to use it correctly, and is the body able to get rid of the old stuff and repair the things that are in there. And are you using antiperspirants? Are you wearing tight-fitting bras? There's all kinds of other things that are causes of breast cancer that we have to look at. So I went through this with a couple of aunts who passed because of breast cancer, because they were on hormone replacement therapy, because they had their uteruses removed or hysterectomies, years back. And so then they were all, so it was just a big mess. So again, you have to look at the whole body, not just treating one little thing or one little part at a time. For example, if you were to only measure female hormone and then replace them with bioidentical hormones therapy, you will virtually be guaranteed to fail because you have not addressed the underlying issues, what we were talking about here. And we're talking about, many people don't even know what bioidentical hormones are. Like Synthroid is a synthetic. They do make bioidentical hormones, which are much better than that. But a lot of endocrinologists don't want to mess with those because they're hard to calculate and they're hard to stabilize. So they love to use this as synthetic. It's always the same thing every time. So again, there's just ways of working even in the medical system to help this out. But if you're going to this guy for this one, and this guy for this one, and this guy for this one who's not talking to anybody, pretty soon you're on 5, 10, 12, 15 medications, hormones, whatever else, and who knows what's going on there. So we at our office here try to get the underlying cause and get people off of those things so their bodies start to work correctly, and then you get some actual health going on. So I think I've about went through everything that I want to go through at this time. A couple little closing comments, though. Again, the big one is well, a couple of them here. Emotional things so important, which Eddie is going to catch on here in a little bit. Listen to your body. You're the one who lives there. You know as much or more than the doctors do about what's going on in your body. So by all means, write things down. Let the doctors or whoever know what's going on that way. Exercise regularly. I mean, you can do aerobics and different things, core, but just plain old walking is good. Yoga is great. Stretching and things. Those things are great. You don't have to, be a marathon runner, run 10 miles every day. That's not what you have to do. Just something, getting out, getting going. And then eating a healthy and nutrient-dense diet. So that's, of course, important. And then the other part of that is making sure digesting it. And that's, again, what we do here at Natural Health is making sure that our patients digest what we give them, whether it's the supplements or just getting their food that they eat in good shape. And again, the holistic approach, looking at the body as a whole, not just treating the one little part. That's important for symptom relief, but not really good for health, actual health. And again, the big one that I see a lot in here is the weakened adrenals. When people are overstressed, that just throws the whole system out of balance. And Dr. Chips talked about that before. When the tiger's chasing you, you don't have time to be loving and caring. You got to get going. So the adrenals kind of override, and if they're wore out, then you're not getting things working correctly. So we have to address all of the hormones, not just estrogen. So that'll about do it for right now. I think I'll come back at the end and do some coronavirus updates, some things we're hearing about, but I'll turn it over to Dr. Chip and he'll go over some more fun things. See you in a little bit.
All right, Dr. Chip here. So we'll go ahead and talk about the nervous system and the hormones or hormonal system or endocrine system. So again, we got two systems in our body, the nervous system being the brain and spinal cord, and that entails the nerves and the electrical impulses that are kind of flow through all these nerve endings and nerve fibers. And that's a very fast twitch response. The electrical impulse travels through the body at a very high speed. Now the organs and glands, more of your hormonal system or what's called the endocrine system, that is more of chemicals in the body, chemical response. So these organs or glands, they secrete hormones or proteins or other substances into the bloodstream, and that blood circulates throughout the body. So the hormones go to where they need to go to signal other processes there. And that's usually a very slow process. So this is more just general information to help you kind of understand both systems. Now, again, we were kind of talking about what are the causes of the underlying issues. Again, we can always kind of treat the symptoms, but if we never get to the underlying causes, then we'll always have those symptoms and we'll always have to keep doing those same things over and over, or taking those same medications or anything over and over again throughout our lives, because we're never understanding and addressing the underlying cause. And so there's only three categories of causes. There's many causes out there, but there's only three kinds of causes or three kinds of stress. Now, when the body is stressed in such a way, it becomes dis-ease, it becomes unbalanced. So again, the body is a whole complete system. We can't just keep nitpicking every little thing and focusing on one thing at a time. The body is so complex, it knows exactly what it needs to do to heal when the stress is relieved. So again, when we treat the body as a whole, we can heal as a whole. So again, there's only three kinds of stress. One, the physical trauma. Two, the nutrition, the foods you eat, the chemicals in the environment, and then the third is the emotional or thoughts. So we'll kind of dive in a little more about how those stresses are impacting our body, which can affect our hormonal system and the nervous system. So again, I've said it many times before, this is the two different sides of how the body gets, kind of the nervous system response. So when we're stressed, kind of more throughout the day, a lot of people are in more of a sympathetic, overdrive, tension, stress. So their shoulders are raised up. They don't know why their shoulders and muscles and all are tense all throughout the day. It's because they're usually stressed throughout the day. They're just kind of tense. And that can be caused by any of these three different stresses. So it could be nutritional, could be chemical, could be emotional or thought. And usually it's more of a thought-related issue where you keep having these negative thoughts come in and it makes you stress. It makes your body react to these thoughts, which those thoughts produce chemicals too. But we digress. The sympathetic, again, is more of your fight or flight response. Now, the parasympathetic is more of your rest and digest. And so a lot of times that if we're always so much into that sympathetic overdrive system, we need to transition into the parasympathetic to balance out the system. Again, if we're always hovering and always staying in one system rather than the other, again, some people are more parasympathetic, but we want a balance. A balanced body is a body that can heal and function properly. So how does it all work? So the processing centers here. So we're going to talk about the communication. So when your organs or different tissues in your body, even your skin is a big organ. And this is the input process. So where you're sensing things such as sight, smell, taste, touch, or hearing, that input comes in and it comes to the brain, and the brain has to process it. So the brain's trying to figure out, okay, based on these sensory information, I need to produce chemicals in my body to adapt to that environment. And so what happens is that we have that input from our environment. We sense it from the five senses. That could be from our skin, our eyes, hearing, our ears, or anything like that. And that is also with the organs too. However, so then the brain processes it, and then the brain sends a chemical or tells the organs to produce chemicals into the bloodstream in order to regulate our body. And so if we're always in that stressed mode, we're going to produce chemicals needed for that stressful situation. However, if we keep doing that over time, our body cannot, or it runs out of those chemicals, and now it burns out these different organs. So say the thyroid, for example, if you keep that stressful response and it starts producing more of the chemicals needed to kind of run away or hide or fight, you can only do that for so long. But after a while, those chemicals aren't going to be there anymore, and it's going to start burning out. And so if you're not replacing that nutrition back in, if you're not de-stressing in some way or some form, then you're going to have a dis-ease or an unbalanced body. So that's kind of how that works. And so again, the organs to the brain and the brain to the organs, it's such a whole process that our body is so complex, it's always adapting to our environment. And that could be the outer environment, could be the physical nature, or the food that we eat, the chemicals that we consume, breathe, or whatever. Or it can be kind of the inner environment, your thoughts, your emotions. And so it's always important to realize that there's so many different forms of stress, and that if we're not addressing all of these, then we could have disease in the body. So again, the nervous system, the central nervous system, again, your brain and spinal cord, it is more of the conductor, the signaler. It's telling all the organs what to do. So this is more of an analogy. So you can kind of think about the brain being your inner pharmacist. Again, like going to the pharmacy or anything, get medications for your condition that you could be having, and now you're kind of getting those chemicals from the outside. However, your body always makes these chemicals. It's been doing this for years and years on end. So if we know that our bodies can actually produce the chemicals we need, and if we eat the right foods, if we're moving well, and if we're having positive thoughts, or at least kind of getting rid of the negative thoughts, then we're able to produce the right chemical formula or the right amount of chemicals for our body to stay in perfect alignment. Now, a kind of a quick question here, or an interesting thought, is that all the chemicals made outside of the body have a receptor on the inside. So just like when you go to a pharmacist and you're getting medications, those chemicals need to dock on receptors in your own body. And so it's not that you are deficient in this chemical. Your body can produce these same chemicals because it has receptors in the body already. It wouldn't make any sense if it couldn't, based on the receptors in the body. So just a kind of a fun little thought there. So I think that about does it for me. Maybe not. Got one more. So why chiropractic? Why is this such a why is it such a good thing for the hormonal or the endocrine system? So there's research now that states that chiropractic is positively influencing the brain to regulate the body based on adjusting the spine. And so when we're able to do that, we're able to regulate the whole body, the brain to the organs to the brains, so that we're in proper alignment, and that we can get the right signaling so that the hormonal system or the endocrine system can function properly, can produce the right amount of chemicals, rather than bringing in chemicals from the outside, which can throw things off. So now that is the last slide, I am almost positive. And we'll have Edward up here shortly.
All right, thanks, Dr. Chip. So I'm going to talk a little about emotional stress. I talked a little bit about fear before, but I always just want to emphasize the importance about the subconscious mind. Because when we look at the subconscious mind, this holds all the thoughts, all the way since between the ages 0 and 7. Now, I kind of want to look at the beginning of this. It was called women's hormonal system. So if we look at women's, they're always very intelligent and adults. But we got to understand that the majority of all these emotions, these thoughts, come from the age of 0 and 7. Now, the brain that is combined with the subconscious mind is called the limbic system. And the limbic system is what Dr. Chip was going over, is another term called the inner pharmacist. So if we have thoughts or emotions and feelings that are not trapped, but are in our subconscious mind, if we even think about them, it'll cause a chemical reaction. And the limbic system is all about the emotions, the perceptions, the memories. It likes to maintain balance. So it'll try to find balance with all the different thoughts that you have in your mind. So if we keep that in mind with hormonal systems, we can kind of look at, okay, so what thoughts do I constantly have on a day-to-day basis? I mean, it's easier said than done when we say, stop producing so many chemicals. Well, if we have these different programs, or these unconscious, the ones that we're unaware of, that it's hard. For instance, like the emotion of fear. When we go through our day-to-day lives, we might be unconsciously aware if we do the things that are out of fear. I mean, some of them are like, okay, it's given, like look both ways across the street, but some of them might even be kind of tough to understand that you are doing these day-to-day things within the whole house, inside your house, that are based off of fear. So if we have this program, this emotion trapped in a program in our subconscious mind, we will find that we'll be creating the same chemicals over and over and over again. So if we get rid of that emotion thing, so for instance, like fear, if we release that from our subconscious mind, we won't unconsciously be producing more and more chemicals. As Dr. Chip was approaching it, that you can run out, and then it'll cause a weakness in the body or a disease in the body as well. And I just want to emphasize the importance behind the subconscious mind. I keep bringing this over and over and over again, because like I said, we talked about the ages 0 and 7, but the subconscious mind doesn't know the past or the future. It only knows the present moment. So when we look at the subconscious mind only knowing the present moment, every single time this thought between the ages 0 and 7 come back into your awareness, and you get kind of this nervous feeling or this fearful feeling, well, you're producing chemicals and you're telling your body, okay, we're going to keep doing that. It's a program that's going to keep coming up more and more until we actually get rid of that emotion that's causing that program to come back up. Because the subconscious mind is also self-healing. It wants you to get rid of the emotional attachment that's caused to an event between the age of 0 and your past, and then wants you to understand it, be aware of it, and then release it. And then once it's released, you'll find that you won't be producing as many chemicals, or you'll find that the body will just ease within itself. So when we understand the importance of, again, about the subconscious mind and how it affects our own thoughts on a day-to-day basis, because all the thoughts that you have is 99 or 95% controlled by your subconscious mind. So if we become aware of putting very high vibrational emotions like peace, love, joy, appreciation, there's also some really good ones, then we can program our subconscious mind to only go towards those emotions. So the emotions like fear, guilt, shame will never come up because they're not programmed anymore in your subconscious mind. It'll take time, but yet again, you're finding yourselves out like, do I really want to produce all these different hormones or chemicals in the body when you don't have to? You can work on yourself within with your emotions, your thoughts, and your feelings to work towards more of your ideal self and what you got going on in the future. So I just wanted to emphasize that the emotions and thoughts and feelings have a very big part to do with this when it comes to the hormonal balance. And the best time to approach your subconscious mind is right when you wake up and right when you go to sleep. When you structure or program inside your subconscious mind to really hone in to right when you wake up and right before you fall asleep, to do more of like meditations or plug in high vibrational emotions like gratitude. You know, you go to bed at night, gratitude. I mean, give gratitude to every single thing that you've gone through today, even if it was bad. And honestly, the subconscious mind doesn't know if you make it up. So you can state once you're going to bed, I had a wonderful day today. Maybe I messed up on a presentation really bad, but I'll tell them or tell my subconscious mind, I had the best presentation. I went over the subconscious mind. It's okay. And then I can tell it over and over again because it only knows the present moment. So when you're sitting in bed, perfect time to program the subconscious mind is to go over your day, give complete appreciation that you're going to do better tomorrow, even if you did a wonderful or bad thing. And that same thing goes in the morning as well. Give gratitude that you had a wonderful day, and also plan the day. Like, tell your subconscious mind, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm striving for, and this is what the overcome is going to be at the end of the day. It doesn't know, so you can tell it, it'll do it. So that's all I have for the emotional part. The next health shop that we have is pregnancy and fertility on May 11th. You can always follow us on social media. So I want to thank you for showing up. Dr. Mark is going to go over a couple more things about the coronavirus, but please follow us, share, like, love on Natural Health Quincy, Illinois, or Natural Health Quincy on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Brighteon. We're going to be at Natural Health Quincy. So thank you so much. And up again, Dr. Mark.
Great. Great. And if you had any questions, we can put those in the comment section real quick. I don't know if we've had any so far, but we're always happy to answer questions about how we look at things maybe a little differently than you've heard before. Just a couple of things, trying to update people on what, because I watch quite a few educational videos and read articles all week. So quite a few things going on with the coronavirus business. Mortality rates, of course, are way lower than they expected. And so we're having a lot of fallout on that. A lot of problems with the numbers they're producing. We're seeing a lot of problems with almost everyone that's passing is being told, or everybody's being told that was due to the coronavirus, putting on a death certificate. So it's really skewing the numbers a lot. And we can see this from other countries that are reporting. Taiwan is one that is way low. Everybody's handling things differently. And I'm amazed in this world of the mainstream medicine, where you would think by now, after how many pandemics have we had, there would be some kind of a scientific consensus on how to handle this stuff, and nobody really knows what's going on. It's like, well, we'll try this and try that. So we really want to, as we get past this, look at becoming more truly scientific. One person I watch is Dr. Shiva, and Ivertuli, can't pronounce his last name, but Dr. Shiva was good. Anyway, he, being an engineer, he's looking at what is honest science, what does it do to, what does it take to get really true health information? Not sponsored by Kellogg's or sponsored by Monsanto or whatever else. It's actually the truth that works for people. So that's what we want to try to work towards. One thing also is we're calling this a plandemic almost, because there's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes. And as usual, any of these kind of political issues, you want to follow the money. Where's the money coming from, going to? And so Bill Gates' name has come up. This is no big surprise for anybody who's involved with health. He's got his tentacles into all kind of health things, even the WHO. He's got like vaccine companies and all this stuff. And you can get all this on YouTube. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing one of the things that I see, trying to keep it simple for everybody. But there's definitely some money grabbing going on in the background here. And again, one of the big things that I want to make everybody aware of is to protect your medical freedom. They're wanting, I mean, we've heard time and again that they're wanting to make us all have forced vaccinations. And that is definitely against the Constitution for one thing. And again, it's just against common sense. Vaccines are fine. I'm not anti-vaccine and I'm not pro-vaccine. I am pro-truth and pro-science, and I mean actual science, not the stuff that comes from. I mean, we always thought that TED Talks and things were honest, but I've seen a lot of those, but they're way off the mark. So again, you have to look at where does the money coming from, where's the money going to, who's behind it, and even Fauci, he's involved with the Gates Foundation, Bill and the Gates Foundation, and with the Clinton Foundation. So a lot of things going on in there that we just want to be aware of. So that's probably for tonight before some things at me. Again, thanks for tuning in for Women's Health, and we're going to have Women's Health all this month. So as you can see there, the next week's on fertility, and we had this in our hormonal questions. If you have any questions, let me know. Anything else out there? Otherwise, I'll sign off. Again, just follow us, love us, hit your bell thing, and then we can let you know when videos are coming. We'll have a video every Monday night, and we'll have this on YouTube and Brighteon tomorrow. And there's a lot of good back ones too, so if you want to get into those. Otherwise, have a great evening, fantastic week. Stay positive, stay focused, and know we're here to help you. Have a great one. Thanks.